What's up, guys? All right, I'm going to be demoing Open Code Review, which is a CLI tool and also available as a plugin in the Claude Code plugin marketplace. For details on how to download either, feel free to visit the GitHub repo. We also have a couple of NPM packages that we've produced. Yeah, and so to jump right in, was thinking about demoing this inside of one of our larger repos. This is Workbelt. It is our current big SaaS product that we've got in the trades and soon to be available in some of the other industries that we're looking at. It's got about 500,000 lines of code, and we've been using spec-driven development basically since the inception of OpenSpec and some of the other spec-driven development tooling that's out there. And so, having tried a variety of those tools and also just been trying to figure out how you get really high quality output from AI assisted development, we've got quite a few scars, and we know where the bottlenecks are. And one of the biggest pain points that remains is human code review. It's inescapable. I could not advocate for a process that doesn't involve human code review. Perhaps the odd side project that's not high stakes, but for something that's production grade, obviously you need to have humans, downstream as the final quality gate. And so Open Code Review doesn't try to replace that. We totally recognize and encourage people to make sure that they're still leveraging human code review. What this is trying to do is it's trying to take some of the garbage that might end up downstream, despite using frontier models and spec-driven development. Incoherent patterns, naming inconsistencies, you name it. Some of the things that LLMs might just let slip through the cracks as they try and follow a spec. Trying to make sure that those kinds of low-hanging fruits aren't making it to the humans, because it's only bogging us down even more. And so I'll show you what setup looks like. Right now, I've got 96 stage changes, well, almost 96 stage changes. I will show you what using Open Code Review looks like here. Install is really easy. You can download it as an NPM package, or I'm using PNPM. I have this downloaded globally. Once you have it available and it's executable, all you have to do to get it set up in your project is OCR init. Right? It will try and pick up whatever tooling you already have available in terms of your surrounding agentic environment. In this case, we've got some cursor configs. We do have Copilot configs here. I use Windsurf, and I also use Claude Code. Just select whatever tools you're using. It will go ahead and bootstrap a bunch of stuff into this .ocr folder. And within here, it's got some central skills that are referenced across those different tools. Right? It has basically details on processes that the tech lead or orchestrator agent that is in charge of doing the entire code review process is going to follow. And then you've got your custom reviewers, right? And it ships with some default. There's a principle that's looking at holistic cohesiveness of a change set. There's quality that is trying to really pay attention to code quality, style, etc. All of that, in terms of context, how do they know what code style should be applied here? All of that is coming from this central config YAML, which is really important. In this YAML, you can basically tell OCR where to look for all of your project rules, coding standards, what have you. This is really flexible, and it's getting injected into every single prompt run, basically, with the main orchestrator agent as well as the sub agents. And so you can see it's got some defaults. It's pulling in agents.md, ClaudeMD. I've added a couple additional project-specific files for it to look at as well. You can include additional rules beyond kind of the default that are best practice for code review. And then you can configure your default team. You can add custom reviewers as well. So, if I want Martin Fowler to be one of the engineers reviewing code, I could build a reviewer called Martin Fowler, reference him here, right? Martin Fowler, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I want two. And he would then become an available reviewer for your tech lead who orchestrates everything to spawn up and have perform code review, right? Obviously, I'm not going to bother Martin today. So we will get rid of that change. But this is the default, or I believe actually two principles and two quality or code quality focuses are the default in terms of the reviewers. I know I'm going to need a tester looking at the change set that we've got here. And so let me go ahead and run this now. Pretty simple once you've got it all initialized. You can do it from the CLI. You can also do it from Claude Code if you've got it installed as a plugin. And you know what? I'm going to do it from Claude Code. So, and yes, I am going to skip permissions because you will have to stay at the keyboard and approve a bunch of stuff in terms of all the tool calls and things like that will happen as part of this. So to get going on this, just type in OCR, which is the prefix. You can do review. And actually, we want to pass on an additional argument. Basically tell it where are the requirements located for the change set. We've got some active OpenSpec documents. And so I think I might even have, here we go. Review the current stage changes against the active OpenSpec docs, right? And so, like I said, we use OpenSpec. We've got a series of spec documents that were a part of the change set here. For those of you that are like really serious about code review, like myself, yes, I know I would never push 75 or whatever significant file changes. Under most circumstances, all at once in a single commit. That's not what's going to happen here. I just wanted to demo this. So let's go ahead and run this. It's going to take a little while, but what you're going to see here is the main agent, the main Claude agent, going through the different workflow descriptions that we have as part of the skills that got scaffolded. It's going to set up some checks, make sure that everything's configured. It's going to look at the context that we wanted set up here in config YAML. And then it's going to figure out what reviewers need to be spawned. And we can follow along with this actually outside, just in our terminal by doing OCR progress. And if I open this, you're going to see this little sessions folder created. And so when you run a new code review, it's going to create a new session. And this is something that's not tracked by Git. I'm debating whether that's something that we want to change, but for now it isn't. And it basically is the stateful location where you have an ongoing code review, right? And so you're going to see this built out, orchestrated by this main agent. And then you're going to see documents created by each of these sub-agents. And like I said, it takes some time. So maybe I'll skip forward here a little bit. But once we have you can see there's a session created here. And it's already picked up that we're in context discovery right now. And so behind the scenes, what's happening is the tech lead is going out, it's looking at all the referenced documents in those spec files that I referenced. It's looking at the requirements. It's trying to explore pieces of the code base, assemble basically a map of where each of the reviewers should look for additional context. It puts together standards to pay attention to, right? And you're going to see a lot of this stuff is probably matching a good chunk of the content in the spec docs that we have for OpenSpec. It puts together functional requirements and some acceptance criteria. And then as this continues on, you can see we will eventually get to, once we get past requirements gathering, we'll have the tech lead finally go and figure out, okay, which are the reviewers I'm spawning up? And that's when you'll see the parallel reviews kick off. And so I'm gonna cut it here, and then I'll start up again as soon as we've got the reviews in. All right, so we are done with the code review, at least this round, and Claude has gone to the effort of putting together a summary of the results. Now, there's an inline summary in the Claude CLI, where it breaks things down in a nice way, but there's also an actual document that's produced as part of our session. It's called review.md, and yeah, basically this review is supposed to be a thorough version of a detailed code review that you might get in a larger engineering organization context, right? And so, I think there are definitely things around verbosity that could be changed in terms of the way that this is produced. But honestly, it brings in good context from our testing. A lot of this stuff has been 100% accurate, which is great. I think the fact that we have redundancy across different reviewers, but then redundancy for a single specific type of reviewer as well, has helped with the quality of these kinds of outputs. And so from here, what you would expect to do next is take any highly recommended changes like the selective retry, and maybe some minor fixes or whatever this is recommending needing to be addressed, and you might pass it back to whatever agentic flow you're using for AI assisted development. For us it's SDD, and so we'd have it plug back into that SDD flow, as like a feedback loop. And just like any normal kind of code review process, you'd iterate on it, you'd push up your changes, and then you could run this again. And ideally, what you see is it doesn't find those same issues, right? Obviously. And it also hopefully recommends merging, right? It actually gives you, via the tech lead's decision-making framework, it gives you a recommended, merge or no merge. And the overall assessment actually is ready for merge with 2 critical fixes. So it recommends fixing the critical fixes, yes, but like ready for merge once those are done. And so, yeah, but obviously, and again, I just want to stress, I do not recommend just using this for code review. Like, it's frontier models aren't there yet. This tool does not get you all the way there. It reduces the amount of junk that humans have to deal with when they're looking at the downstream output of AI assisted development. And so you still need to pass this implementation through human code review. Almost 100% of the time. And I'm sure there are tiny little edge cases that might exist right now where maybe it could make sense. But enterprise, like production grade SaaS, again, don't do it. Okay. And so last little cool thing, well, you can see the little progress CLI thing is recognizing everything's done. That's great. You can also take these results and actually push them up to the PR. If I had raised this PR on GitHub and referenced it when asking for a code review, you can ask it to also push the final code review as a comment on that PR. And so that's really cool. And so I found a PR that actually has a comment from Open Code Review. And as you can see, it's the markdown document that gets produced locally, I mean. And so anyway, pretty neat. And so far, it seems to be helping. We are seeing less strife in terms of the human code review as we go through our the different features that we have in flight. And I think the whole motivation here for me is to start to try and close the loop here on that last mile of AI code quality. This does not close the loop. It gets us a little closer though. And I wanted to start with something that's lightweight and flexible, and something that could actually be used in an enterprise context. And I would love help if anyone is interested in maintaining this project with me. I don't have tons of time to dedicate to it, but it would be cool to see this thing advance. And it's designed in a way that's supposed to complement tools like OpenSpec. Lots of inspiration from the OpenSpec implementation. So yeah, just reach out, let me know if that's interesting to you. And I welcome any help here. So all right, cool. Hope you guys get some value out of it. Cheers.